In a kingdom where the emperor's word was law and his emotions were storms, no one ever imagined that a child, a daughter, would become the instrument of his darkest punishments. Asterisk, she was born under blood-red skies. Asterisk, the empire celebrated her birth with parades, coins, and songs. She was the first daughter of the emperor after 3 sons had died in infancy. For once, he smiled. For once, he touched something gently. They named her Sarah, pure light, and the name seemed like a curse, waiting to be broken. Asterisk, the empress, her mother, was the emperor's 3rd wife. His first had died accidentally during childbirth. His second had disappeared. The third, Sarah's mother, was too clever to die, but too proud to be loved. Their marriage was war-dressed in silk. Asterisk, Sarah was raised in golden halls, dressed in silver, and kissed with poisonous intentions. The unseen transformation. Asterisk, the emperor did not touch his daughter with violence. He touched her with expectation. She was never allowed to cry, never allowed to say no, never allowed to have secrets. Asterisk, every day, she was taught 2 things. Her body belonged to the crown. Her emotions were irrelevant. Asterisk, when Sarah turned 13, the emperor began bringing her to court. Asterisk, he'd place her beside him on the throne, his arm wrapped around her as if to say, she is mine. Asterisk, ministers bowed lower when she was present. Generals averted their eyes. And his wives, they trembled. The wives who displeased him. Asterisk, the emperor had many wives, some noble, some enslaved, some given as tribute from conquered lands. Asterisk, he didn't love any of them. Asterisk, they were tools, decorations, distractions. Asterisk, and when they displeased him by talking too much, aging too quickly, or refusing him in the wrong mood, he never raised a hand. Asterisk, no, he had a new punishment, one no one could understand until it was too late. He would summon Sarah the first time it happened. She was 14. Asterisk, he had received word that one of his concubines, a favorite from the southern provinces, had written letters to her former lover, hidden within her jewelry box. Asterisk, rather than execute her, the emperor smiled. Asterisk, that night, he ordered her to bathe, dress in white silk, and go to Sarah's chamber, the chamber of punishment. Asterisk, Sarah's room was known throughout the palace for its stillness. Asterisk, no laughter, no crying, just silence. The concubine entered trembling. Asterisk, Sarah sat upright in her bed, her long black hair combed, her hands folded. She said nothing. The concubine bowed. Asterisk, Sayra extended her hand, not for affection, but for command. Asterisk, the door shut behind them. No one knows what happened, but the next morning, the concubine was found wandering the gardens, barefoot, mumbling. Asterisk, she refused to speak, refused to eat, refused to ever enter the emperor's chambers again. Asterisk, she was later sent to the monastery in chains. Asterisk, Sarah returned to court that afternoon, in the same white silk, a silent ritual. This became routine. When a wife angered the emperor, she was no longer whipped, starved, or banished. She was sent to Sarah. They would enter her room at night. The guards would close the door, and no one would ever speak of what happened inside. Some emerged sobbing. Some refused to speak again. Asterisk, one tried to claw her own eyes out. Asterisk, the emperor called it cleansing. He claimed Sarah was blessed with a spirit that burned corruption out of women. But the truth was darker. Asterisk, he was punishing his wives by making them share a bed with his daughter, not out of lust, but out of pure, calculated emotional destruction. Asterisk, it wasn't about sex, it was about defilement of intimacy. He weaponized his daughter's innocence, not by destroying it, but by using it as a mirror to shame and ruin others. Sarah's eyes. Asterisk, what of Sarah? She never cried, never spoke of those nights. But her eyes changed. The light in them dimmed. Her face became unreadable. She stopped playing music. Asterisk, stopped reading. Asterisk, she would walk past the emperor's wives like a ghost, not acknowledging them, not mocking them, just existing. And that was the worst part. Her presence became a punishment in itself. The court begins to fear her. Asterisk, at court, ministers bowed to her before the emperor. No one dared speak her name without reverence. Some began calling her the Pale Flame. Asterisk, wives, concubines, and even handmaids begged not to be sent to her chamber. Asterisk, some offered to cut off their own tongues instead. Asterisk, the emperor would smile and whisper. Asterisk, Sarah will fix you. Final scene. Asterisk, one night, a new bride, barely 16, offended the emperor by laughing during a poetry recital. Asterisk, he ordered her to Sarah's chamber. She screamed, fought, begged, guards dragged her. The doors closed, and for the first time, a scream came from Sarah's room. Not from the wife, from Sarah herself. Just once. Sharp, piercing. Asterisk, and then silence. Asterisk, when the doors opened the next morning, both girls were gone. The emperor ordered every guard executed, but Sarah was never seen again. Some say she drowned herself. Some say she escaped with the bride. Asterisk, others whisper she still lives in another palace, punishing kings, now instead of wives. Asterisk, they thought she was gone. Asterisk when Sarah disappeared. Silence fell over the empire like a burial shroud. The emperor sealed her chamber. The guards were executed. The young bride who had been sent to her was declared possessed and exiled. But whispers travel faster than commands. Asterisk and in the shadows, a rumor grew. Sarah didn't die. She evolved. The secret palace asterisk weeks after her disappearance. Traders in the southern hills spoke of a veiled woman buying herbs known for disturbing dreams. Asterisk in the eastern marshes, a midwife claimed to have seen a girl matching Sarah's description, cloaked in black, with eyes too old for her face. Asterisk some said she had built a shrine in the forest. Asterisk others claimed she now lived in an abandoned palace with broken mirrors in every room. Asterisk. But what united all the stories was this: she was no longer silent. She was asking questions. Asterisk learning about herbs, poisons, lullabies, seduction. Not to become a lover. To become a weapon one men would never see coming. A royal marriage falls apart. Asterisk meanwhile, back at court, the emperor had grown restless. Sarah's absence had left a gap even his cruelty couldn't fill. His punishments grew erratic. He exiled advisors for sneezing during speeches. He accused guards of blinking too loudly, and he refused to look at any of his wives. They, in turn, began plotting. Asterisk because when a tyrant breaks his favorite toy, the rest of the puppets wake up. Asterisk one wife, the boldest among them, began to speak in riddles during court. Asterisk the one you used as a knife may yet return. As a flame, the emperor laughed at her, until his wine turned sour in his throat. Asterisk until his dreams were haunted by screams from a sealed chamber. Sarah returns. Asterisk one rainy evening, a figure appeared at the palace gates, soaked, veiled. She said nothing. Asterisk but, the moment the guards saw her eyes, they dropped their spears. The emperor was informed. He rushed to the throne room. There she stood, grown, statuesque, unreadable. He whispered, Asterisk, my daughter. She answered, no, your mirror. He froze. Sarah didn't wait for permission. She walked past him and sat on the throne. Not beside it, on it. The games begin from that day. Sarah became the emperor's shadow advisor. But the court saw the truth. He was now her shadow. She began issuing quiet commands. Certain wives were moved to distant towers. Certain ministers vanished without trial. Certain guards were promoted after sharing a dream with her. She brought dancers into court but only allowed them to perform blindfolded. Asterisk she asked children to sing lullabies, but only those that spoke of betrayal. Asterisk and every night, she would walk barefoot into the old chamber he had sealed. Asterisk she'd light a single candle, then blow it out. A new ritual of shame. Asterisk one by one. She began inviting the emperor's wives to her chambers again. But this time, there was no silence. She asked them questions. Asterisk what did he take from you? Asterisk when did you stop recognizing your own voice? Asterisk do you want it back? Some cried, some laughed bitterly, some begged to stay. Sarah didn't punish them. She didn't humiliate them. She helped them reclaim themselves. Asterisk and once they did, she trained them. Asterisk how to speak without fear, how to walk without apology, how to become the very thing the emperor feared most. Asterisk a woman who had nothing left to lose. The emperor's unraveling. The court was shifting. His wives no longer flinched. The concubines no longer wept. Even the servants met his eyes. Asterisk one day, during a royal feast, he raised a toast to the silent obedience of women. No one clapped. No one raised their cups. Asterisk instead, Sarah stood. Obedience is what you force. Grace is what we choose. Asterisk you've never tasted grace. The hall fell silent. He slapped her, and she smiled. There it is, she said. Asterisk your last move. The final curtain. Asterisk that night, he fell ill. They said it was wine, or a curse, asterisk or divine judgment. He screamed for Sarah, but when the physician pulled back the curtain, asterisk he found only a crown, placed upside down on the pillow beside the dying Emperor. Sarah had vanished again. Her legacy years later, in lands far from the empire. Legends bloomed. Asterisk of a woman who healed broken wives and trained them as queens. Of a daughter who turned her body from a prison into a sword. Of a palace where only women ruled and men entered only to learn silence. Some called her a saint, others, a witch. Asterisk but those who had seen her eyes knew she was a survivor, a queen forged from shame. Asterisk and a daughter who punished a father, not with blades or poison.